Hello, and welcome to this installment of Planning Period, where we demonstrate the capabilities of Eduaide AI in real instructional planning scenarios. My name is Thomas Thompson. I'm a co-founder of Eduaide as well as a former middle school social studies teacher. Today I would like to highlight a new feature in Eduaide. We call it Erasmus, and it's an agentic chat. And I know that's an annoying buzzword, and before you click off of this video, what we're really talking about is simply an AI chat interface that can directly edit documents live in your Eduaide workspace. You can make revisions, you can rewrite, you can subtract things from the document all live with a chat in real time. I taught 8th grade US history. I'll use that subject and grade as the basis for the work today, but you can imagine any subject area for any population and the principles still apply. So we're looking here at the Eduaide dashboard. We'll begin in the lesson planning category, but it's a lot more than just lesson plans. We have materials for direct instruction, assignments and projects, discussion and collaboration, but we'll start big with a unit plan, and then we'll descend into the particulars and look at a single lesson and some of the materials we'll use in that lesson. So we have a unit plan right here, and I have 5 standards that I need to unpack and make sense of for this unit. And I'll select those as the basis for the generation. So I navigate here to standards. I already have my Maryland Social Studies 8th grade standards pulled up. I'm going to click on grade 8 middle school social studies. This unit is going to be on the US Constitution. So under founding of the new government, we have US Constitution, and we have 3 standards here. And I'll also add in the standards around the ratification and the Bill of Rights. So I have 5 standards as the basis for our generation. I'll set my student reading level to 8th grade just so we're aligned there, and I will generate. Now we have a comprehensive unit plan that takes those standards and unpacks them. It begins with a unit overview. We have long-term learning goals tied to those standards. We have the 5 standards listed here. We have a prior knowledge or diagnostic assessment. So just a quick pre-assessment activity, quick quiz, a think, pair, share, just to gauge students' background knowledge of the Constitution. And then a lesson-by-lesson breakdown. We have an intended learning outcome tied back to that standard, extracting the key vocabulary of the lesson, the materials that we'll need, the instructional sequence from the review and activation of prior knowledge, the introduction of new material, practice and application activities, assessment and feedback, closure and transitions, into lesson 2, lesson 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. I want to first save this unit to my US history folder, which I can do up here. And there we are. So looking at the first lesson, I want to do some contextual work, contextual reading. And I want to take the learning objective. I'm going to add it over here. Can you provide me with a topic statement I can use to create an informative text for background and context tied to the following objective. So now I have a set of topic statements that I can now copy, and I'll hit create here. I'll open up, let's say, a text. I need some sort of informative text. What do we have? We have an informative text plus questions. I'll plug in this topic statement, quite a few, and I'll take those standards out. Just want to focus on the topic statement here. Set for 8th grade, and I'll create a new document. Now, since this text will be going out to students, we can do some finishing touches on formatting. We want to ensure it's grade level appropriate. We want to perhaps insert some check for understanding questions throughout, maybe get an annotation guide to help students read through it. And this is what Eduaide is all about. It's a great first draft that can be truly honed in to your unique teaching style. So let's quickly add a easy name and date section. And I want to begin by evaluating this document. It's quite lengthy. Is it appropriate for my 8th grade students? I click evaluate, I click grade level, and I'm going to run a grade level evaluation. What reading level can this text be accessed at independently? What reading level can be accessed with support? So I'm teaching 8th grade. This can be independently read at 9th and 10th grade. Let's look at the scaffolds. We should do a guided discussion, a simplified summary, maybe some visual aids to enhance understanding. And we'll create a scaffolded version real quick. Great, now we have a version that is slightly chunked, some smaller paragraphs. We have review questions. Now let's hone this in. We can go over to revise. Now we can ask Erasmus to insert checks for understanding. Now Erasmus classified what I was asking, and it realized that it's not a mere chat request like the above, but rather a document editing request. So let's apply this. Now we have a check for understanding here and here. But perhaps we want some space to write. We could do a simple insert here. Great. And now we have these review questions. But perhaps I don't want the review questions to all be short answers. We'll say, can you revise the short answer review questions to be a mixed set? Some short answer, some multiple choice. Erasmus will now take those review questions, do a rewrite. It's going to delete question 1, rewrite it as a multiple choice, delete question 3, rewrite that as a multiple choice, delete question 5, and rewrite that as a multiple choice. There we are. Question serialization is still intact. We didn't have 1 jump back to 1 over here and 2 and so forth. Everything stays consistent. We'll insert some space to write. Okay, this is coming together. Give a short space between the multiple choice and the short answers. Great. I'll insert a little, just a simple horizontal divider here between the questions and the reading. Maybe I want an image as well. Now I can hop over to images. I can generate an image. As you see, I did one here for integers, but I'm going to search for an image. I'm going to say the US Constitution. Run a search for that. Great, we have some images of the Constitution. Let's see which one looks nice. We have one for the preamble, one for the Bill of Rights. Let's go up top. We'll insert that. And now I will say, ask Erasmus to draft a question for the image of the U.S. Constitution's preamble. What is the main purpose outlined in the preamble of the Constitution, and how do they reflect the values of the American democracy? Maybe it's not quite readable, so I don't think I'm going to go with that. I'll just write a simple caption, preamble of the U.S. Constitution. I'm going to take some space back now. Perfect. Maybe I need a set of directions for this. Write a set of directions for the activity, for the reading, and include an annotation guide. So now we have reading directions and an annotation guide is inserted right here, the Constitution of the US. Maybe I want to put that above the image. Not a problem at all. I can just simply grab those sections by a block, add them in here. We'll change this down to, let's say, a heading 3 as opposed to a heading 1. Nice, nice, it's coming together. So now I have a title, which, why not, we'll center have reading directions on a separate line now. Heading 3. Take out this space. Now looking at this document, we have our first asset we'll use in class tied back to the unit plan. Again, looking at lesson 1 here. And maybe I want to do a little Freyer model on the Constitution specifically. That's a big word. It's going to carry a lot of weight. Students really need to wrap their heads around it. Of course, we had the background reading, but we want to do a little bit more just on the vocabulary work. We can go to Create. We're already in our Organizers section. I have a Freyer model right here. And let's just simply insert the word Constitution. Generate our Freyer model for that term so students can understand what a constitution is. So we have the word here. We have examples. We have non-examples. Maybe I can toggle those off, look at synonyms and antonyms, fundamental law. But you know what? I like the examples, non-examples. And maybe I'll add a reflection activity as well. Which section was the hardest to fill out? Draw a simple picture to illustrate the term. Hopefully that gets tied back to the reading. Maybe they'll draw a little "We the People" and some nice calligraphy or something like this. I'll save the work now. Let me save these activities since I made some changes. I'll add them to my US history class. And now I'm starting to see a lesson come together. But I might be saying, okay, what about some differentiation work? How do I ensure that this is right for all students? Maybe these paragraphs need further chunking. Well, you can go to Adapt, and we have a set of different adaptation and differentiation tools for different learner profiles, for different grading supports. For example, we don't have an answer key. It might be nice to add an answer key to the document. Now we have an answer key added in. Perfect. But perhaps now we have students that will be engaging in discussion about this document. We'll turn to partners, we'll look at our annotations, things like this. So perhaps we'll generate some sentence stems to assist in this work. So now we have a set of different sentence stems for students who may need those and engaging in discussions about the Constitution, specifically the context around its writing, the purpose and significance and historical context. If we have students with different language needs, we can always do a translation of the document as well. We can translate this into Spanish, for example. And everything about this material, you can either, of course, I hit create. You can also add these differentiation options to the document as I did with the grading supports with the answer key. But here we are. The caption was rewritten. Each sections, the questions, the directions. So now in a relatively short video, which I'm going to wrap up here in just a moment, we have a unit plan that took standards and broke it down. We have the materials that we're going to need for the first lesson. We have a background reading. We have a Freyer model activity. We have sentence stems for the discussion. We have a translated version. I can also, of course, go in and say, grab a guided reading activity if we're going to actually look at the Constitution. So more activities that we can branch off of from here. But I think this gives you a nice idea of how chat can be used to enrich your documents, how you can evaluate your documents to understand its appropriateness for the students that you're working with. You can insert different images into the documents themselves. And then, of course, you can adapt the materials to different learner profiles for different engagement activities, inserting different questions throughout, adapting the complexity of the material. And with that, have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week. I hope the school year has been treating you well. Thank you so much.